Thank you all for joining us for Wisecrack Live today. Henry here saying hello, and Michael will be with us in a moment. We got a little surprise today. Can anyone guess where Michael is? Good morning, Alexa. June birthdays unite, and enjoy the end of the month as we head into July. Some pretty great guesses as to where Michael is. You'll all find out in just a moment. While we wait, don't forget to like the stream. Happy birthday, Matthew.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Wisecrack Live. We're broadcasting live from a place that's a really secret location. I'm sure none of you have the slightest idea where this is, except that you do. It's our studio here at Wisecrack. I'm going to change one thing on a camera setting real quick as we keep going. Awesome. And so we're here today. We're here. I saw some people making guesses related to pregnancy, maternity wards. I saw someone talking about butts and stuff. I am here today because we're filming some extra Wisecrack videos to get ahead before I'm on my parental leave. It's a little scary though, because I'm in this office and I looked and the new CEO of the company's in another room. So I hope he doesn't come in here and asks to get on the stream or anything. I wouldn't really like that. You know, this isn't for him. is what I would say. But how's everyone doing? I see the chat is active. Logan guest Silver Lake. Normally, Logan, normally that's where it is, but I shouldn't dox like that. Someone said office tour. Hector said office tour part two. I'll tell you why I'm not going to do that because we're fixed. We're in a fixed setup now. I'm not moving from this point. Um, People are talking about Canada. Nelson, I will tell the CEO that you specifically said hi. Lex is here. Do we think today is a 420 day schedule 35 day? Help me decide what to take for the stream, everyone. Wow. Everyone let Lexa know what to do. I will say while we're here, because Lexa mentioned this, we did have schedule 35 on a recent video. Again, I'll say that we've used their stuff. We like their stuff. If you're at all interested, you can go to schedule35.co and you can enter code Wisecrack. For those of you who like codes, who like using codes, who feel like using a secret code makes you special. So consider doing that. I'm kind of getting set up as we go today because I just got here. I wanted to get here earlier, but some of you might have heard this. This is a really original thing for me to talk about. LA has traffic. There's traffic
No,
here.
no way.
Yeah,
What?
this is.
What is
I know,
that?
guys. I know, guys. This is pretty crazy. There's traffic in the city of Los Angeles, so I had to deal with that for a bit. So there you go. Well, since we were last together, we had a couple of videos come out on the channel. One of them is about this what's the word I'm looking for? This process of Insidification. I don't know if you guys have heard about Insidification. It's this idea this writer Cory Doctorow came up with, that everything is getting shittier. Like things were getting nicer, things were getting better in our world, and now they're getting shittier. So that video is kind of about that. Julia, thank you for liking the videos a lot this week. Really appreciate it. But we used that concept to talk about online friendship, which I think is very apropos. Maeve, you can make all the 405 jokes you want, which is apropos this live thing we do in this chat, right? Jackson Mayer is here. Jackson, who trolled me for being a self-hating bald man on the internet this week, says Dr. O is king. As always, guys, if you don't follow the YouTube channel, skip intro. What are you doing? So do that now. Jackson's the best. Yeah, I think it's interesting to think about this question of online friendship. And here's what we're sort of thinking about getting in this video. I'm curious if people have thoughts about this. I'm sure, like many of you, we've made friends and formed social bonds with people we've met via various internet platforms. I know for me, Twitter has been the main one in my life where I've like made friends and met people. And as these platforms, which have been useful to us from like a social perspective, start to suck, it's almost like Elon Musk now owns the means of some of my friendships. And if I decide to get off Twitter or something like that, right? Or if Elon Musk makes it so bad that I leave or my friends leave, there's certain people who I feel like I'm just not going to really get to hang out with anymore, or see or have in my life. So, there you go. Jackson said embrace being bald. Who's embraced being bald more than me? If you want to see if I'm bald or not, let's get to 1,000 concurrent and you guys will get raw effing dome. Yeah, Lexa Power. We did say that online friendship was maybe dying. Maybe we said it was dying on that video that came out. But, one of the ideas there is of like, if this Insidification thing is real, and if you didn't see the video, or if you did see the video, I want a refresher. The basic idea for Cory Doctorow is this thing happens where there's a platform. It invites us all in. It says, hey, we're your friends. We're not going to sell your data. We love you and we care about you. And we're like, oh my God, thank you so much for caring about me. Hey guys, remind me too. I realized I left my lunch in the car. It was a salad. There's no meat in it. It'll probably stay good for this stream. But guys, you have a responsibility. Some of you, okay? When this stream finishes, in the chat, I need some people to say, Burns, go get your lunch. Okay, that's a serious thing
Don't
that I
forget your
need.
steamed veggies.
I need some of you to do that. So, I hate to go right off the bat by giving you guys a big responsibility, but I need that. So please remind me. Let's see. Someone said, Eric said, "When did you start shaving your head?" Too late. Let's do a new segment called Bald Guy Corner. If you're a person who is going bald, who is losing your hair to some extent, I will just say this. You should start buzzing or trimming your hair earlier than you think that you should. Um, Potentially even like a year or more than you think you should. Everyone always waits too late. So I started doing a really short buzz a few years ago. God, I'm trying to do a thing, guys, that's gonna help us all out, but the internet, it's so mad at me. But do it earlier than you think you should. You'll never regret it. Every person I know who has where is this? Everyone I know who's had the experience of going bald or whatever, they always they always look back and just think to themselves like, "Oh, I should have done this sooner. Why did I wait so long to do this?" So I say this because I don't want you to feel that way. You know, I want all of you to feel if you have naturally depleting follicles, we can do that. There's something I want to look at. I'm going to send a link over to Henry so we can look at this in a second. Um,
Oh boy, what are you sending me?
don't pull it up yet, but we started a lore master list last week. So I want to bring that up so we can take a look at what we have so far. Dare Johnson said, "I'm not losing my hair, but I feel like it's coming because literally all my mom's brothers are bald." You never know though, I have lots of uncles and cousins, and a lot of them have really great hair. Um, but to quickly, and what's up, everyone, for being here? I agree with Kalani Scott that Wisecrack Live is flames. Ryan Klein, I mean, embrace the Jesse Ventura look if you have the Jesse Ventura attitude to go with it. Nelson gifted 50 damn memberships. That's amazing, guys.
Lord.
If you don't know what that means a bunch of you are getting gifted memberships right now. It means you get access to some emotes. It means, you can participate in our world in fun new ways. It means I'm always going to see your chats. You know, it's really good. Yeah, Jackson says sometimes you get hit by the whole alopecia. There's lots of reasons that God can decide to take our hair, but he does it when he knows that we can handle it. God only gives us what we can handle. And some men especially, but people in general are cowards and need their hair. And God says to some of us, you have a strength of spirit such that you don't even need hair. Nelson, I don't know what Nelson's follicular situation is. Anyone who can give 50 memberships doesn't need hair. If they have it, that's awesome, but you don't need it. So everyone say thank you to Nelson. Logan Mansion Games is here. Hello, how are you doing? Um, let's see. Okay, Sean Grafton says it was based on your mother's father. I think that's not true. My mother's father, who was a piece of shit, died with a full head of hair. He probably went straight to hell with that full head of hair, but he died with a full head of hair. Guys, it's okay to say, let's do this. This is a side comment. It's okay to say the people you're related to are pieces of shit. Some of you might disagree with this, but I think we have this. I think family sometimes can be toxic. This is not on our
Agree.
rundown. We're not supposed to talk about this, but you know, there's this thing where it's like we love family, unconditional, da 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 da. But what if they're pieces of shit? I had a situation, and I'm gonna enter overshare corner now, where I decided to not invite one of my uncles to my wedding because he's just a fucking asshole. And if you guys think I'm just being mean, he was really mean to me after my dad died. It was very very unkind. Guy has a drinking problem as well, so there you go. And when I decided to not invite him to the wedding, some people were like very upset and was like, "Well, you can't not invite him to your wedding." Well, why? Because because it's my mom's brother. Who fucking cares? I have friends, people in my life who I care about. So I don't know. I think that if any of you are in a situation right now, if anyone needs this, if this matters to any of you, let me know in the chat so I don't feel like I'm just wasting your time. But I don't know, man. I just feel like if you have someone in your family who just sucks and they're not loving and kind, they don't make you happy, You don't owe them anything. You really don't. Doesn't mean you have to be cruel to them, but I just don't think you owe them anything. Okay. Um, Zakaria says family only exists for you to destroy them at the Thanksgiving table. Yes. Also, friends are there, chosen family, things like that. But if anyone needed to hear that, there you go. To jump back now, thank you for liking the stream to the most recent video or one of the most recent videos and the Insidification thing. Again, there's this idea, the platforms, like family, right? The platforms say to us, we're your family. Come here. Give us your information. Communicate here. Do all this sort of stuff. And we're like, great, thank you, platform. And the platform's like, we're never going to hurt you. And then the platform says to corporations, like, hey, we said we were never going to sell data, but for you, because you're special, we'll sell you their data. And then the companies get in, and then the platform gets really bad for us. And then the platform even pulls the rug out from the companies. So corporations don't love them anymore. We don't love them anymore. And it's just the shell of what it once was. And it feels like a lot of the platforms, those of us who are millennials or older Gen Z folks, um, a lot of us are living in that era now where some of the platforms that we were dependent on and stuff like that, um, they're starting to suck, and it's kind of confusing. Nelson, Lord of the Chat, said, my dad deserved the time I spent not talking to him. Overall, I helped him look in the mirror. RIP, thanks for the inheritance. He did improve in the end. I mean, yeah, Nelson, I think that's sometimes, like, I'm going to sound like a therapist, guys, but boundaries. Sometimes you can set a boundary, and in setting that boundary, a person has to reckon with why that boundary was set, and that could lead to something good. I'm going to overshare again, you guys. If you don't want to have an overshare, plug your ears for 30 seconds. But another wedding story for you. When I got married, I had to tell my mother, my only living parent, that she was really only invited to the wedding if she was not going to drink that day. People on my mom's side of the family, like this uncle I mentioned before, have drinking problems. It is not good. I don't blame people for having a genetic predisposition towards alcoholism. That is not their fault, but it is their responsibility. What you do with that. And shouts to anyone who has a drinking problem and is taking care of it. I respect you. But yeah, I had to tell, like, my own mom, you know, can't maybe come to the wedding if you're gonna drink. And she got really mad for a bit, but then we talked about it, and she came to the wedding, and she didn't drink that day, and it was really nice, and she had a really nice time, and me and my wife had a really nice time. So we go. Jackson said, "We get it. You're married, guys. Let me tell you about my wife. She has a poetry collection coming out. You guys should pre-order it. I've said too much. Um, and you know what, guys? If we get to 1,000 concurrent, I'll get divorced. I will file the paperwork live on stream. But either way, that's what the Everything Sucks Now video was about. And in a similar way, I think the last two videos we put out kind of pair up a little bit. Everything sucks now, and we're all fake now. Also, for anyone who feels like lonely and alone and stuff like that, I was truly, until I met my spouse, I did not have a long term relationship for most of my adult life, and was always very, very sad and alone. Hey, shouts to Carlos, 20 years sober. That's incredible. Nothing's more impressive than that. Lex is out here looking for single and desperate and poly people. I mean, Lexa, maybe that's the problem. You're asking a lot. You want them to be single, desperate, and poly. Maybe you find single and poly, desperate and single, desperate and poly, poly and single. But, that's a lot of stuff right there. Daniel said, thanks whoever gifted me the membership. Pretty sure that was probably Nelson. Someone brought up a divorce speed run. But yeah, you can get the poetry collection with the thing, Bald Burns. The next video that we had that came out this week is called We're All Fake Now. One of the thumbnails, we are running two different thumbnails. We are doing some A/B testing, is like a deep fake version of me. I went through a filter, and I have like hair, and my skin looks really nice and stuff like that. But it's kind of about, this one was hard to market. It was hard to figure out how to title and thumbnail it. But the basic gist is, like, because of our existence on the internet, because of reality TV culture, because of the blending of reality TV culture with internet culture and stuff like that, our notion of what's real is kind of fading. And there's this thing that happens sometimes where I feel like a lot of influencers. Oh, thank you, CC Smooth, so much for the tip. It means a lot to us. We really appreciate that. But this thing happens where people, whether it's reality TV stars, influencers, people we like on YouTube or whatever, many of these people know that they're faking it, right? They're performing a role that they're getting paid money to perform, but they're performing a role under the guise of authenticity. And what could happen to some of us, especially maybe younger folks, more impressionable folks, is we look at that and we don't clock that most of this is just paid performance, that it's not real. And then we can try to make our lives look more like that. I mean, think about the person who follows someone on Instagram who's like a travel influencer, and they get paid money to do all this shit. And most of their pictures make their life look a lot better than it really is. But then we might put pressure on ourselves to live that sort of lifestyle, but we're not getting paid to do it, you know? And it can make us feel bad. It can make us feel inadequate. So I think that's the risk. So, the title of the video is We're All Fake Now. Someone said, good luck having a channel where you belittle your audience by calling them fake. You know what? We said we're all fake. We're a part of the we. But, um, but the gist there is like, I think the lines around reality and authenticity are getting blurred. And I don't know the answer to that one. Jackie said, to cure your loneliness, consider reaching out to people with the intention of curing their loneliness. We all did it. The world will be better. You know what, Jackie? I think Jackie's comment's really insightful. And Jackie, a thing I think about sometimes is all the times in my life. I don't know why it is today that I'm oversharing, because normally I'm just a closed book. But Jackie, what this makes me think of is like times in life where I've been lonely and I'm sitting at home alone, and I think to myself, why isn't so and so calling me? No one ever calls me because they want to hang out. But then it's like I'm not calling anyone, right? I'm not making the effort. I'm so anxious about being lonely that I'm not putting in the effort. And what if one of my best friends is sitting at their place alone thinking the same thing? Well, if I just fucking shot them a text or a call, next thing you know, maybe we're bowling or watching a movie, playing some games, getting a drink. Who knows? So I think like the cure to loneliness sometimes is remembering that we are not the only sad, pathetic loser. And I mean that glibly. Um, because whenever we feel like that, most people probably feel like that. I don't know. Does that sound fair, Henry, or am I just making excuses for being
Yeah, I
pathetic?
mean, I think culturally, there's a lot of structures that push various types of insecurities on us as individuals to fit in or participate
Mhm.
or perform the right way in a society.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of ambient noise out there that can lead us all towards those feelings.
Yeah. So everyone, let's do that. Let's be the people that do that. Dusty Old Hat said, "Is that an online ceramics tee?" It is, and I wasn't supposed to get one, and I ordered this because I was gonna get this shirt at the Dead Show in LA, and I was like, you know what? I have a child on the way with my wife, and I just want to be responsible. I can't keep spending money on like band shirts and stuff. That's fucking crazy. But then a week later, I was like, no, I needed that shirt, so I ordered it, and I had to pay more because I had to get shipped. And I was hoping my wife wouldn't find the package. And then yesterday I got home or the day before and she was like, there's a package on your chair from Online Ceramics. And I was like, fuck, I got caught. Nelson said, this is why I try not to care about how real I am. What's the point of overthinking that kind of thing? For sure. I mean, imagine if like we were all just real and that we liked what we liked and we felt comfortable with liking what we liked and we didn't worry if everyone else necessarily liked the same stuff that we liked.
Yeah, this is something I think I really figured out in college when there were certain hobby clubs I would join, and it struck me more as like badge collecting and external validation than like they genuinely liked the stuff. Uh,
Mhm.
and that's something we touch on in the authenticity video too, is like if you're self-searching, self-scrutinizing, and constantly kind of, evaluating, growing from what you're trying, you're not really being fake.
Yeah. For sure. Um, Matthew, quoting REM, says, "Everybody hurts sometimes." Yeah, but again, and it's like, if someone like reaches out to people and they don't reach out back, like whatever, that's their problem. It's not a you problem, it's a them problem. Declonics, thank you for tipping for oversharing. We really appreciate it. So there you go. Let's see. Someone said, Shake and Bacon said, also today with endless schooling, American ethos of leaving home, living on your own, moving. Yeah, it fragments friendships for sure. Thank you for liking the stream, everyone. Keep it up if you're here. So last week I created, and I'm checking it now, and I think that no one did anything crazy yet, um, which I really appreciate. We started a lore doc, and we've been talking about this for a while. Um, we started a lore master list, and I made it a doc that anyone can edit, can comment on, whatever. So we're really trying anarchy here. And I think there's some good stuff on here. Do you want to pull that up, Henry, and we can go through the lore master
Yeah,
list?
I'll pull it up now.
And I'm pretty sure our buddy Michael, great. I'm pretty sure at the top our buddy Michael created the lore master 666 graphic for us. Outright tiny. It's not about when you lick the stream, it's that you lick the stream. So there you go. But here's our lore master list, guys. Now, I don't know if we should repost the link to it. Maybe it's one of those things where like it needs to be organic so someone can post that if they want. I don't know.
I think I'm going to drop it in the chat right now, actually.
Yeah. So Jonathan Velasco says, I feel like Michael only ever half listens to Henry. Jonathan, I think I probably 75 to 100% listen to Henry, depending on the situation. Because here's what happens. It's just Henry and I that do this. So there are times where if Henry's talking for a bit, I might use that as an opportunity to like pull something up we're about to watch or catch up with the chat. And I hope, and Henry, we can talk about this.
Yeah, on the flip side,
hope
I
that that's
sometimes
not-
feel that I'm missing out on the conversation as well because I'm queuing up docs or links or videos.
Yeah. I mean, think about it this way, like, a streaming type show that I like to watch sometimes, like Office Hours with Tim Heidecker. When you watch a show like that, they have like producers that are just doing all that stuff behind the scenes. And then you have people that their only job is to like host and hang out, and they don't do a lot of chat interaction. So when you watch this, you have Henry and myself are doing all of the production for this, and we're pulling up docs, and we're getting videos ready, and we're looking at the chat. So there you go. Ryan said, how much do we not hear Henry? Just like to you, Michael. Not a ton. Not a ton. Only when things are going wrong or we're bringing guests on. Okay, well, people are laughing in this office. Do you guys want to come on stream? CEO? No, I shouldn't do that. Should I do that? Should I just like randomly invite? No, I should not do that. I should not do that. Don't encourage me, anyone. Someone said dead eyes Michael, rest in peace. Wow, people are adding stuff already. Okay. I'll delete stuff. I will delete stuff if you make it crazy. Stuff on the lore master list. Okay, we got Captain Nelson. Of course. We have Wisecrack Live as a psyop to capture socialist unless you get a membership and you're safe. That is true. Again, I've warned you about this. This is a psyop from the government. We are trying to figure out. I work with Ron DeSantis. I work with Senator Rick Scott from Florida. We are trying to capture reactionaries, radicals, anyone with it all leaning positions, and we're trying to round you up. We're trying to take you down.
Yeah, when I'm
And
not
we have your information.
Yeah, when I'm not doing this job, I'm working part-time fishing teens to frame.
And all the money here, all the money when you have a membership, that money then helps us fund the CIA. So there you go. We have that Michael never wears pants. Today I actually have shorts on. Let's see. Andrew Tate wants a philosopher in his house. Now throat share, I'm going to highlight this one to make a point. I would say that's like literally like almost a stream one thing. Throat share is one of the first things that I think we ever got to on the stream. So that might even, I think throat share is one of the few ongoing bits that predates Henry. Am I wrong in that?
I believe so.
Yeah. So there you go. Let's see. We have the brown dot on set. The stream tries to say dry sexual. Yes, we're anti-leftists, communists, and we're anti-sex. Raw Dome at Raw Dome at 1,000 views. That's real. I did push-ups at 8. I think we've never gotten that high again since I did push-ups. So we learned that was a curse on the stream. Yeah, see, someone added the Nelson thing up top, but they didn't read that it's already down here. So if you're going to add something to the lore doc, first of all, add to the bottom, because then that way you have to read through the whole thing to see if it's there already. Um, Someone said dunking on sponsors during the live stream. Whatever do you speak of? Such a thing would never take place. Look for Michael making dead eyes during terrible ad sponsors. No idea what you're talking about. Obviously Henry doesn't remember 9/11. That's just a fact.
What?
Um, yeah. See, he doesn't even know what I'm talking about. We got Harris Hole on there. We got James Lindsay making fun of my voice. Vox Popcast, he's very involved. I don't know what sex is. Oh, I forgot about this. That I have a weird thing with hair. My first crushes were on pretty hairdressers. I forget saying that. That is true. I loved them. If you're here, you're on time. What Arias, which was developed by the dude Abides. Michael has a book and it's easy to find. I like that someone in a purple made a purple font to comment on that. And yeah, I wear a bald cap over a wig over my bald head. And then someone put like some drawings down here. Is that of something bad? Oh, I kind of can. Oh, Frederick Engels. Wow. Okay, so that's our lore doc. It's a thing that we have now. So that's fun. Don't get into an edit war. Don't do it. Yeah, Jackson, James Lindsay called out my voice. He said that like my voice wasn't sexy and then I was a honker. And what else? The main thing that stuck out to me is that my voice wasn't sexy. So
James Lindsay doesn't want to bang you? Damn.
yeah, when I see James Lindsay's high-level sword play, nothing gets me more moist. So there you go. Okay, so we're here. We're doing stuff. That's the lore doc. The other thing we brought up last week, and I've read some of these. I'm gonna wait to read them on the show until next week. But our email address, which is wisecracklive666@gmail.com, I asked for some parenting advice, and I got some really great emails already, which were really great. So, we can check those out. Jackson, the James Lindsay thing was, I want to say this might have happened the time that I was on vacation someplace, but then I went on the Wisecrack Twitter account and made fun of James Lindsay from the Wisecrack Twitter account, and then posted a video where the video we made about how he's stupid. Um, I think that's what he responded to. Or it was like a thing that I tweeted and then I got spicy and retweeted it from the Wisecrack account. So there you go. So that's that. Yeah, I think that's what happened with that. It's probably still there someplace. But guys, a fun thing happened yesterday. I know you guys like this sort of stuff. Filmed some videos with your friend Helen yesterday, Helen Flourish. So we have some more Helen videos coming out soon. So that'll be pretty fun. So let's talk about AirBNB, guys. And before we get into AirBNB, this is Wisecrack Live. Michael Burns here with producer Henry. We mostly listen to each other. When we're not, it's not because we're being rude. It's because we're running stream together. Moises is here. Said, "What up, Wisecrack heads? What did I miss? So much." So let's see. Wow, Lexa with some Luke from Gilmore Girls stuff. Adrian says, Michael, you keep saying that you're going to lose your job, but with the stuff you pull off, you were staying at this company forever. Who knows? And then someone asked about the Colleen Ballinger response video. Here's all I know about that. I'm a little bit too old to have really been in on the Colleen Ballinger experience. From what I know of her, it's pretty annoying. And I guess she like groomed kids or something, but I don't know. I don't want to comment on that, which I do not know anything about. This is what I've heard.
Yeah, I only know the recent fallout. I don't know her body of work or history, but it was interesting to me considering the authenticity discussion we were talking about, because it's one of those things where it's like, what motivated this person to think a ukulele song was a good method of communicating this?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Lex is talking about Gilmore Girls. I love it. And yeah, Selwyn, we're streaming from the headquarters. I kind of like this, guys. I would want to do this more, streaming from here, except for it takes me an hour to get here sometimes. I thought it was going to take me less today. I wanted to start a little bit earlier, but kind of like this. Although I could see maybe post post parental leave, maybe it would make more sense to do it from here. And eventually I could figure out how to actually use our like studio cameras, because I just brought in, this is just the camera I use at home, but the quality is actually fine. This is fine.
What
And
kind
I
of
didn't
lights you
really.
got on?
Oh, they're just like the normal studio lights. The one thing is they're low for, because normally when we do a video, I'm down here like this. So I didn't adjust them, but I could probably figure out a version of the lighting that's more conducive to this. But I like standing too. This is nice. Nelson says, if the new CEO asked about the channel and you mentioned how I donated 420 and he drools a little bit at the thought of revenue, this here is a bet. And I would be honored if you say you owe me 20 and then show him this. That's pretty amazing. Listen, if he walks by, I will. But I don't think he will, but we'll see. So Airbnb, guys. And also if you're here, a couple things. We're going to get into the first topic today. It's topic time. It is topic time. Let me change. I'm going to change it so I'm only seeing top chat right now. Let's see all messages so I can really see all the psycho stuff. And see, now I see Brian Madrigal saying, love Gilmore Girls. If you're here, your family, and you're on time, we do this every week on Thursday. I'll give you a heads up. Next week might be the last Wisecrack Live for a bit, or at least the last Wisecrack Live that I am on. So if you like doing this, if you enjoy being here, please mark your calendars for next week, which will be what, July, if the 4th is Tuesday, 6th. July 6th might be the last. Scarlet Voss, I see you. But yeah, so July 6th might be the last stream with me for a while. So I'm just prepping you for that emotionally. And as you know, you can always sign up for our Patreon. I don't like to talk about it too much, but the basic gist with the Patreon is it's a great way for us to make money directly. So Patreon now, they open up a new feature where we can like sell content there. We want to start making stuff for Patreon, podcast, extra video, stuff like that you all can get, whether you're a member or you can just buy it from there. So we're looking into that. The big pitch with Patreon is if you have the money to support us, it helps. You get sporadic extra content. You get all of our videos early without ads. Get on our Discord server. It's easier to get in touch with us and bug us. And it just helps us not be as dependent on advertisers, which is important because it seems like things might be getting weird at YouTube again. So check that out if you want. Henry, he's already posted the link in the chat there. So there you go. Yeah, someone brought up Wisecrack study guides. Peter, this is something we've thought about, is making a video series on this sort of thing where we could do some videos that would come with documents and go through stuff like that. So, but we're going to talk about Airbnb today. So if you are not, Scarlett, if you're subbed in Patreon and not in the end credits, we just have to make a new thing. So we made that graphic a while ago, and was when a different producer was working for us who made it. And I don't think we've updated it. So if anyone is bummed about that, I'm really sorry. We'll try to look into it. Remember, we're a very, very small team. So Airbnb, many of you know what this is. Airbnb is a company that started here in America and went pretty global, where individuals can use property they own as short-term rentals. And when it first started, it was a thing where, let's say you have like an extra room or a guest house, you could rent that out. Then it was like, oh, you're going on vacation for a bit, rent your house out. But then what started happening, because capitalism and the real estate market and all those other things are real, people started buying up properties, cheaply renovating them, putting shitty furniture in them, and using them full time as rentals and making that how they made money. People started buying up tons of them. Then the prices started going up. Yada, yada, yada. It became a new American way to make a bunch of money. And I don't know, like, Henry, have you stayed in Airbnbs before?
I've been on trips with friends who've like arranged it, but I've never myself straight up arranged an Airbnb trip.
Yeah. Someone says, what's in Wisecrack University? Monica, I think that's you get philosophy office hours videos, and we sometimes documents and stuff like that. But yeah, like Airbnb. Okay, yeah, Julia is getting into it because Julia is an urban planner. Yeah, I heard that Barcelona like shut them down or something. But yeah, I remember when Airbnb first got popping, and there was a time I went on a trip with someone and we stayed and one in Asheville, North Carolina. And it was just these like chill dudes that had this like garage basically they turned into like a little studio apartment thing, and it was cheaper than than a hotel. And it was like, okay, this is fine. These dudes have a house, they have this garage, they made it something kind of nice. They had a little guide for what restaurants and bars to go to. It was really, really great. But then it felt like it just got bad. And then they got really expensive. I know at a certain point, if I travel, I'd much rather stay in a hotel at this point. But the real thing came when the Airbnbs stopped being like these two dudes in Asheville. I'm just gonna use them as an example. These two fellas, I think they were married, but maybe they were just fellas in love. Um, you know, it was one thing when they have their house and oh, we have this garage, we're gonna turn it into something, we make some extra cash on some weekends, whatever. But then it became a primary way that people made money. And of course, one of the effects of this is if let's say I live in a city that has a big yes, and shitified. Crazy Tom, you're absolutely right. Um, if I live in a city that has a decent tourism market or people are coming there, I could just buy up a bunch of Airbnbs and I could put not a lot of money into them and I could potentially make thousands of dollars a month off these. Well, then what starts happening, right, is that there's less rental properties available for people who just want to live in them. Who just want to exist and be humans. There's less affordable property available for people that might want to buy property, and it starts taking over the market. And there's this thread from I don't really know who this person is who did this thread. They seem like they're probably stupid because their profile is like the number one real estate channel on YouTube. I mean, and the funny thing is, so this is a thread where someone breaks down the Airbnb collapse as if it's bad, and I'm just like, I think this is good. I think this is good. But again, guys, real estate, it's a real thing. So on this thread, it says revenues are down nearly 50% in cities like Phoenix and Austin, where
Yes,
Henry is, not to dox you, but I feel like they'd really have to put in some effort to find you in Austin.
they
So, and
would.
that's established canon. It's canon that Henry lives in Austin. As does Wisecrack director Michael Luxembourg. I'll give you his address though. I'll gladly dox Lux because Lux would be like, "Come over, come to my house, play with my dogs." Um, but basically, it says, "Watch out for a wave of forced selling from Airbnb owners later this year in the areas hit hardest." Now, again, some real estate bros might look at that and say, "Isn't this horrible? These people are going to be forced to sell their Airbnbs." Maybe, or maybe it could introduce some more cheap housing. But when you look at the places here, does anyone know where Sevierville, Tennessee is? Because that one went down the most. Is that is that a Nashville suburb? Or or is that like a tourist destination like the Smoky Mountains or something? If anyone knows, if there's any Tennesseans in here, we'd love to see it. Tell us. But then from there, you get Phoenix, you get Austin, Myrtle Beach, San Antonio, Asheville. Asheville's the first one I stayed in. Salisbury, Maryland, which is on the coast, Nashville, Tennessee, Denver, Breckenridge, New Orleans, Lakeland, Florida is a shocking one, Seattle, Panama City, and then Orlando. So I know Sevierville is in Tennessee. I'm just wondering where in Tennessee. Joey's in Austin, wants to play with Lux's dogs.
From
Hit Lux up on Twitter or Discord. I bet he'll let you.
from what I gather, doing a quick search, Sevierville's in East Tennessee, and it seems to have some national parks and stuff in the area.
Oh, okay. I Guys, this is crazy. The last Airbnb, or one of the last rentals I stayed in was like in that area, like the East Tennessee mountains for my mother-in-law's 70th birthday. It was
Yeah,
weird.
the Great Smoky Mountains National Park is right
Okay.
nearby.
Yeah, okay. So I do know where that is. We were making jokes about how it should be Seviersville because it was severely depressing there by some metrics. What's up, Dilly? How you doing? Guys, thanks for being here. Keep liking the stream. It helps us out. Like the stream if you enjoy, you know, me being in studio. Like it if you enjoy me standing up. It's probably healthier for me. I'm probably going to live longer because of this because, isn't sitting down's the silent killer?
Speaking
I
of
think.
severe, it's not too far from Harlan.
Wow. There you go. Sorry. Chat. Okay, so let's look at this thread. So this guy says, "What's scary for the U.S. housing market is just how many data shows 1 million Airbnb VRBO rentals." So again, we're talking that a million, in most cases, full homes that I'm sure are empty much of the time, um, which we don't love, compared to only 570,000 homes for sale, creates huge home price downside if struggling Airbnb owners elect to sell. I mean, this is funny, right? Because when it says creates huge home price downside, and whenever people talk about this, it's always like so Christopher says the camera at the studio looks better. Christopher, this is just an example of the difference like a well lit room makes, because this is the same camera I use at home.
Yeah, the lighting
Um,
just allows the camera to resolve a bit better.
yeah, so it's actually making me realize this camera is better than I thought it was. When I first got this, it's like it's a high quality camera, and but using it at home sometimes, I'm like, this isn't that great. And it's like, oh yeah, because I'm in an apartment with some random shitty lighting in my random shitty apartment. But speaking of housing, thanks for being here, guys. Oh, we're in the 600s. Maybe we'll get to 666. It'd be fun, guys. Okay, here's the thing. If we get to 666, I'm gonna do the thing because I'm a man of honor.
Do you remember how the song goes exactly?
Not quite. I'll have to make it up again. But here's the ringer, guys. I'm pretty sure the CEO of our parent company is just around the corner from here. So if we get there today, I'm gonna have to scream 666 and improvise a song about Satan, and he might hear it. And he might come around the corner thinking like, what the fuck is happening here? He has a British accent. That's why I did that. I probably shouldn't do impressions of the CEO on stream. To be clear, this is someone that I've enjoyed in the times that I've met him, but I don't know if that's the impression I want to make. We're back into the 500s. Probably won't happen. If we get there, we get there. Like the stream if you want me to scream 666 and potentially get fired. But of course, the logic um, used on this thread is that like it would be bad if things go down for Airbnb, because then more of them will be for sale, which will expand the number of affordable or potentially affordable housing units, which would be bad. And it's like, or maybe that's good. Maybe. I mean, it's really an example of the ideological curse we live in which housing is a commodity primarily and only incidentally a place where people get to live. And we've been working for a while on ideas around housing at Wisecrack. We did a video a year or two ago on an obsession with real estate. We're working on a video now, the title of which might be something like "Why You'll Never Own a Home." I hope no one takes that as a personal attack, because, as far as I know, no one who works at Wisecrack owns a home or is even close. Well, we got to 623, guys. It might happen. It might happen. Like the stream if you haven't. Um, so then this thread goes on to talk about Phoenix. I think we have some Arizona folks here. Or at least I think Scarlett mentioned before that they left Arizona because of this sort of thing. It says ground zero for the Airbnb collapse is a city like Phoenix, where the number of short-term rentals, 18,000, is more than double the number of for sale listings. Yeah, this is wild. That's wild. You have 18,000 short-term rentals, I'm sure most of which are unoccupied most of the time, and only 8,000 homes for sale. Mix the huge Airbnb supply with revenues down 50%, and you get a cocktail for massive forced selling. Oh no. Oh no.
Land
Julia says
speculators
that,
are going to have to sell at lower prices?
oh no. Julia said the majority of urban planners for the city of Toronto can't afford a home even though we plan them. Julia, I'm curious if there's anything that you do in your work in Toronto or anyplace else, or if you know anything about policy around Airbnbs. I know you mentioned Barcelona earlier. I know that there's some cities in Europe that have just started banning Airbnbs because they're ruining things. And I know there's especially places in Europe where people have bought up real estate, where a lot of Americans and other folks then go and rent Airbnbs and stuff like that. Um, and then people who are from those cities can't afford to live there. Guys, I'm kind of catching up on chat. Is Lexa out here like, making connections in the chat? Are connections happening? It seems like there might. Kayla Fried Rice lives in Techie, California, and I have friends at Airbnb. Rough. At least the one friend I've seen recently praises how they treated their employees. They shower them with money. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sure they pay well. Um, I'm sure Raytheon has good benefits. And to be clear, I don't like judge people for working where they work. So yeah. Um, but again, so let's go to the third tweet in this thread. Another area with huge exposure. Oh yeah, Eastern Tennessee, particularly a vacation town called Sevierville in the Smoky Mountains. In this county, there's 10 times as many Airbnbs as listed for sale, while the revenue per owner is down near 50%.
That
That's
is
nuts.
ridiculous.
That graph is crazy. Wow. And it's a weird place. That region, like when we stayed there, holy shit.
Why, thank you, Jamal.
Jamal Thomas, $100. My brother in Christ, Georgism helps fixes the housing issue. I'm once again asking for you to video on it.
Yes,
But
I've been.
Jamal, we need to cover it. Let's do a Georgism stream. Henry, I think you've already done this.
I
I'm gonna
found.
give. Can you find something maybe for, if not this week, maybe for next week, like a video or an article we can look
Yeah,
at?
the YouTuber Mr. Beat, he does history videos. He has a
Mr. Beast?
Mr. Beat. Yeah, yeah, he
Beast.
makes jokes all the time about thanking Mr. Beast for giving him some popularity. But
Mhm.
yeah, he does a really good breakdown of Georgism and the history of the guy who like wrote the philosophy and why. It also is a good video on why it didn't take off and kind of like some of the pragmatic pitfalls of it during the early 1900s. But also,
Yeah.
yeah, it seems like a pretty solid idea. I'm for it.
Well, guys, you know what? Jamal paid us $100. So next stream, Jamal, we're doing a segment on that you sponsored and paid for. So, Jamal, if you can't make the stream next week, please tune in on the VOD because we are going to talk about that. Very, very cool.
While we're talking about East Tennessee, I brought up Harlan earlier. I just
Yeah.
want to shout out to everybody to look up the documentary Harlan County, USA, or look into the Harlan County War. It's one of those things that they should be teaching kids in American history that they don't.
Yes. Scarlett, thank you for the tip. We really appreciate it. Yeah, Harlan County is a great documentary. It's on, well, it was on the service that was called HBO Max.
I think
I
I've
don't know.
seen it just up on YouTube too. Like people just upload the full thing.
Oh, awesome. So, but no, definitely highly recommended doc. Everyone should watch that. So yeah, so this Eastern Tennessee thing is crazy. So again, like we're talking about, and Eastern Tennessee, I'm going to talk a little bit of shit here in terms of just like guessing. Where is, yeah, so Julia's talking, and this is in response to Callie. Callie, if it's okay if I say this, who wrote a wonderful parenting advice email that I was really excited about. We'll read it on the stream next week. So thank you for that, Callie. Julia said it can be done ethically, but when you have entire units sitting empty Monday through Friday and tourists only staying within the weekend, that's yeah. So I think that's the problem. And again, I think the point here isn't that like it's inherently bad or evil or something like that, because there's a huge difference from, again, I'm just going to use the example of my buddies in Asheville. What was the one guy's name? He was so nice. Well, my buddies in Asheville, right? Guys who owned a home in Asheville, their home had a garage unit or something like that. It wasn't like they stole some unit. It was a little garage they owned, and they turned it into a little like Airbnb vacation thing. I get that. Or even people that have, like, we've always had vacation rentals. Airbnb did not invent that. If you go to areas of the country where there's lakes, there's mountains, all that sort of shit, there's always been cabins and things like that that are not occupied all the time. And I think that's fine. That's a normal thing that exists in, in socialist Scandinavian countries. They have, lake rentals and stuff. The issue with Airbnb, I think, is when we're in dense urban areas where lots of people work and lots of people need to live, when those units get taken. So I think, Julia, our Toronto correspondent, is noting that Toronto, obviously, huge city, tons of people live and work there. And if you have a bunch of units in the city that are unoccupied, that creates a problem, both for people that work in the city, live in the city, stuff like that. But the Tennessee thing is wild. And especially because, like, you know, that has to be yeah. When there's not available housing, that has to suck because it's not like a super rich or crazy area or anything there. So that's wild. That's very wild. I'm going to send that to my in-laws later. So the fourth one is Central Texas. Uh-oh, guys. Henry, we're getting close to home. Data from the All Room shows that Airbnb revenues are around 50%, particularly in Austin, San Antonio, and Uvalde. Let's see. You know what I never realized until today Henry, I didn't realize that Austin is relatively close to San Antonio. Or how far is it actually? Like
Yeah,
driving
it's
wise?
it's only like 90 minutes to 2 hours, depending on traffic, but it's a pretty straight shot south on the 35.
Is that is that the close? Is Austin closer to Houston, San Antonio, or Dallas?
San Antonio feels the closest. When you drive to Houston or Dallas, there's like breadths of like countryside and fields and stuff. When you drive to
Mhm.
San Antonio, I don't feel like you ever fully like leave civilization, if that makes sense. There's all kinds of strip malls and stores and places to stop along the way. That makes San Antonio feel like a big urban extension compared to the other
Yeah.
two.
Ah, interesting. And guys, again, if you get to 666, I'm gonna confuse some people in a shared office building, potentially including the CEO. So yeah, but you see on this map, Texas popping off as well. And again, I'll let Henry speak on this. By all accounts, from everything that I hear, Austin is one of those cities that in the last like 10 to 15 years has just gotten pretty nuts in terms of housing, rent, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's
Fair?
changed a lot of the character of like the downtown area too, as far as like people moving into areas that were entertainment districts and then being mad that they're entertainment districts, so getting city ordinances to like shut down music venues that are
Oh, that
going too
sucks.
late. Just crap like that. Yeah. Um, I'm curious too, like in addition to, Airbnbs going down, just like if the novelty's been squeezed out of the city, because
Mhm.
past few years, the newer arrivals kind of show up and are like, "This is Austin." It's like, yeah, you guys kind of suffocated everything that people were coming for.
Mhm. Yeah, someone Maeve in the chat said, "Thanks, Rogan." Speaking of Rogan, guys, I'm gonna do something that I shouldn't do, which is speak to a celebrity sighting interaction I had. I normally think it's not cool to do that. You know, there's obviously famous people who live in Los Angeles. I think that in many ways, I respect the fact that people who are famous, or people that like do jobs or whatever. But I'll say this, guys, I encountered Bill Burr in my normal coffee shop yesterday. I had to ask Bill Burr to move because he was standing like against a counter where my drink was waiting because I pre-ordered it to get away to the studio. I'll say this, guys, nice guy. And that brief interaction, Bill Burr was as Bill Burr was more polite and amenable than the average, like pretentious, struggling LA screenwriter. So I'll say that. I will say nothing else about anything else. I don't know much about Bill Burr. I don't keep up on his comedy a ton. I liked him in The Mandalorian. But I will just say, in terms of a human being that in my brief interaction did not act at all famous or pretentious, treated me like a human being, politely got out of my way, was related to my spirit because it was very much, I just asked him to move politely and he was like, oh, sorry. And it was just like super nice. So yeah, we can add that to Wisecrack lore. Bill Burr, nice guy if you see him at a coffee shop. So there you go. Eric says bald recognizes bald. Yeah, a couple bald, pale Irish guys with hats on. Maybe that's what it was. He was like, "Oh, I see something in this guy. I get him. I get it." But yeah, there you go. I'm glad he took shrooms and liked it. Someone said about Bill Burr. Um, yeah, there you go. Okay, let's see. So then also Pacific Northwest, Montana, Idaho, Oregon is crashing. Yeah, you hear the same stuff about like as at one point during deep COVID, I got obsessed with wanting to move to Montana, but everything got really expensive there too. Um, now, so tweet 6 of this thing. Yes, that's a new Michael's best friends with Bill Burr. Yeah, we're gonna develop a show together. Um, So this guy says ultimately this Airbnb crash was to be expected. The pandemic is over. Fewer people are working from home, vacationing in states like Montana, Texas, and Tennessee. So the demand is way down just as the Airbnb supply went up. So you get a crash. What will be interesting is how stubborn Airbnb owners are in holding their properties. Many of them now are just seeing their revenues down 50%, but the mainstream narrative hasn't caught up. So owners might not realize that the crash is a broader trend. Some Airbnb owners might elect to do a long-term rental instead. I like how it's like some okay, let's get to this. Airbnb, did Uber for housing, right? And now it's crashing. And what's going to happen when it crashes is people are going to now say, "Well, I still have my Airbnb, but I do long-term rentals now." What do you mean long-term rentals? Um, well, I rent to people that live there. They sign a lease for like a year. We then renew after that. They pay monthly rent. Oh, so you're just a landlord of a rental property now? No, no, no. It's my Airbnb, but I do a long term. I do a long term now. You know, it always comes back to this. And again, it's like the Insidification we talked about before. Uber and Lyft was like amazing. I'm going to pay $5 and I can go anywhere I want. This is so fantastic. Well, then what happens eventually is things bottom out, and most rideshare services now are as expensive and in many cases more expensive and less convenient than a traditional taxi service. So we're living through this era where we reinvented everything for the reinventions to turn to shit and then be worse versions of the things that they replaced.
Some like baby
Um,
brained libertarianism.
it really is. It really is, guys. And that's what's happening. The further we do these like micro privatizations where we carve out things that used to be personal, individual, or non-economic and turn them into like neoliberal zones of accumulation and surplus capital production, things just get bad. Um, and the thing is, this logic, when it expands out, is going to get worse and worse. So to our UK friends, if anyone in the UK is watching, to you, um, but what people are going to do in your government is they're going to gut the National Health Service, they're going to privatize it, and they're going to make it a system that is worse than the NHS was, but it's going to cost a lot more money and it's going to suck. And I say this is someone that used the NHS for a lot of years. Some of you know this. Some of you, I never bowed to the Queen though. Never once. Never once. Okay. Come out, eat black and tans. Um, but yeah, guys. So, yeah. And James brings up, what about Uber's effect on the medallions? Yeah. Like, people's lives fell apart in places like New York because of Uber and the medallion system. Yeah. Scarlett said, yeah, give me trains. Um, Zoe said, we're running out of corners to cut and efficiencies to exploit. Time to get consumer rights. Dead Card said, I heard somewhere before that most of the disruptor economy is just a way to bypass industry unions. Yep.
Yep.
And thank you to a lot of we talked about this a little bit when we talked about the new Obama TV show, but a bunch of ex-Obama staffers, Hope and Change, things of that nature, went on to work for Uber and Lyft and create policy that gutted worker rights across America, and that's still happening. So Hector says, yeah, NHS has already been gutted. Yeah, I mean, I know it's been getting gutted. I didn't mean to act like it's still good. The last time I used the NHS was 2016, 2017. Luckily, in the city I lived in, it was still good and efficient, and I had a good time. Had a good time there. So yeah, guys, I don't think we're at 666, but keep liking the stream if you haven't. Philip said, I once needed Airbnb for several weeks, and the person told the company the rental was over and pocketed the rest of the rental fees. Wow. Wow.
Uh,
Nelson.
Brian
Awesome.
Lamberger's
Oh, go
comment.
ahead.
I like Brian Lamberger's comment. It all just seems like layers of abstraction to give the illusion of value, where the profit actually comes from the back of labor.
Fuck, I'm sorry I missed that one. That's a very, very good comment. You deserve some sort of medal or recognition for that. You know what we need eventually, guys, if we do the stream out of here, I need like a big screen to one side that's just the chat on like a big screen. Cause now, I mean, I'll show you guys this. Here's what I'm looking at when I look at this. I just use my phone and I keep it up there because my laptop sucks. And if I try to keep the stream up, if I try to keep the chat up on my laptop while we're streaming, things aren't going to go well. So I just do this. And as you can see, I can only see that many things at a time, So maybe I need a different setup. Maybe I'll only come back from parental leave. Oh, I shouldn't say that out loud in the office. If they give me a better setup there. I did miss let me go back to Nelson's comment. Nelson said, my grandma says she once ate with the queen and used to say, you wouldn't eat like that around the queen, would you? And I'd say, she can declare war, but she can't handle the way I eat. Yeah, I don't like that. Brian says, thank you, Burns. My obsession with Wisecrack videos has validated my existence. Hey, your existence is valid no matter what. Chris Maverick, PhD, aka Vox Podcast, which check it out if you haven't, is here. So there you go. Someone said YouTube chat is surprisingly bad. It's been really bad in recent weeks. This week, it's not so bad. Thanks for being here. We're at the right after noon Pacific time right now, which would be 3 p.m. New York time, which would be 8 p.m. London time, which would be what, 9 p.m. I think if you're in Rome, I think. If anyone's in Rome, let us know. But thanks for being here. If anyone wants to do this, I'm curious. I'm curious about something. Um, if anyone wants to share what country they're in, I'm just curious. I'm curious where we're representing right now. So if we want to jump in the chat, I would just be curious to see this. If you just want to say what country you're from, hopefully that's not doxing yourself. And if it's a country that you don't feel good about, we're not going to shame you because you're not the leader of that country. But I'd be curious. Chris Maverick, next week will probably be the last show before we do a little bit of a baby break. So there you go. Was there a poll we were going to do today, Henry?
Yes, I can throw that up right now. I was wondering about with Airbnb, how people feel about Nimbyism.
Oh yeah. So let's get that ready. I want to see some countries first. We have Salamanca, Spain, Riverside, California, Canada, Brazil, North Carolina, Alpha Centauri. That makes sense. Florida, Nebraska, Switzerland, Netherlands, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Canada. We love Brazil and Canada. Romania, shouts to Romania. Denmark. Sigurd's here. We love Denmark. Texas, Portland, Finland. We love Finland. Ireland, obviously we love Ireland. Well, we might love Ireland too much. Austria, shouts to Austria. Minnesota, I love Minnesota, and it is the Canada of America. Belgium, Bogota to Colombia. We love Colombia. My best friend's from Colombia.
The poll has
Colorado,
started.
Texas, Serbia, boring Los Angeles, Puerto Rico, Netherlands, UK. Hey, we feel you. Idaho, Wisconsin. I love Wisconsin. Love Wisconsin. Serbia, another Ireland, Warsaw, Poland. Never drink with the Pole guys. They're crazy. They'll drink you under the table. Portugal, some more Coloradans. Australia, Aussie, oi, oi, oi. Norwegia, yeah, we got some Norway. New York City, Germany. Ooh, Santa Barbara. Love Santa Barbara, California. Guys, I love the Santa Barbara area. Ventura, Santa Barbara, things of that nature. I like that area so much. If you're in California, go hang out up there with Liz. Well, don't force yourself on Liz. If she invites you to hang out with her inner city, you're allowed to. Canada, Chile, Massachusetts, Dallas, Bavaria, Slovakia, New Haven, that's where Yale is. Wakanda, heard about it. Vegas, Ukraine, hopefully things are going well. Miami, France, French in Spain, New York City, Columbia, Tennessee, Arkansas, Kansas, parts unknown. Michelin, that's not a real place. Wakanda, lots of people in Wakanda. Hawaii, Illinois, shouts to Illinois. I tried to get this cool Illinois shirt the other day and it was sold out. Pennsylvania, London, Serbia, Lagos, London. So, Liz, of course. That was Liz's, I forget, guys. Liz is my favorite person here because she went saw my band in Ventura, which is the nicest thing anyone in the world can ever do. And Liz, I think that was like our first or second show. So that was an incredibly cool thing to do. And I hope you had an okay time. It was at Topa Topa Brewing. Great place. If you're ever drinking beers in Ventura, Topa Topa is really nice. The people that run it are really nice as well. But know that no matter how much you donate on this stream, until you see my band live, you will always be second to Liz. And I'm sorry to break that to you guys. I'm sorry to break that to you. Someone said, I don't think I got the question. Yeah. So is Nimbyism okay when it's Airbnb? Henry, explain the question.
So, I'm seeing quite a few questions about what is Nimbyism. Nimbyism is short for not in my backyard. It's often a mode of thought used to describe the sort of anti-community project legislation on the local level. If somebody doesn't want like a homeless shelter or a community center or any kind of shared space or project in their neighborhood, not in my backyard tends to be the slogan that's referred to as shorthand for that thought process. Basically, it's a mode of thought where you don't want any municipal projects or any kind of city council ordinance. Like basically you're against development in your backyard because of the inconvenience of it, even if that slight inconvenience on your end, may benefit the building of a homeless shelter. It may enrich the community. So, if We're not talking about a community center or a homeless shelter or some sort of park for kids to play at, and we're talking about Airbnb coming in, buying up houses, and using your neighborhood as a rental space. How do you feel about that?
I like this. Now people can make informed votes. Brian, real quick, is an LA person. You want to see Burns Rock? My band's called Bored Betty. You can follow us on like Instagram or something, and you'll see when shows are happening. Next one on the books is in September. Liz, thank you so much. And yes, a couple blips, but hey, name of the game. Um, let's see, just catching up on the chat. Um, oh yeah, and Julia can explain it as well. If anyone has any other questions between Julia and Henry. Yeah, Julia said Henry did a good job explaining it. I mean, I haven't voted yet because I don't know.
I feel
Okay.
I am being a bit loose with the definition in the sense that it's typically in response to something municipal or, related to infrastructure. Airbnb is more of a private entity than a public ordinance. But I personally, living in Austin, have heard plenty of stories and have witnessed myself plenty of smaller neighborhoods where like a block may have one or two or even more Airbnbs on it, and it's just sort of changed the character of the neighborhood for the worse.
I'm gonna read Liz's comment, not just because she supports the only really important and valuable work in my life, which is being in a Grateful Dead cover band. But Liz says NIMBY sucks, but Airbnb is really exacerbating the housing shortage here. Every single one takes a property off the market. And where the part of California where Liz is at, the Santa Barbara area, very nice, but a place a lot of people want to go on vacation. So I can imagine it's just crazy there. Um, yeah, I mean, I do think maybe yeah, Alexa, that's the name of the band. Oh, Echo Park. I know where that is. That's very close to where my favorite bar is in Echo Park. I shouldn't say that. But I'll say this: my favorite bar is the one place in LA where I'll ever meet people that are like, "Oh, hey, I like Wisecrack." So it seems to be something about that bar just draws people who share our interests. Nelson said, "Wait, you have a band? Buy instruments." Also, I'd give more, but I think I've hit. Yeah, don't give any more, Nelson. But we really appreciate it. Um, what do Plato and Socrates say about music? Plato's weird on music. Plato's really weird on music, to be honest. But yeah, maybe we could talk about music. Um, Someone said, "What happened?" Just catching up. Airbnb banned me over a Karen incident. Does Michael play bass? Michael plays bass guitar. Um, but yeah, I guess so okay. So I voted yes, but I think I agree that it's a confusing one. Because I think it's a little bit different, you know? I think that for example, if there and this is a thing that like happens and happens where I live and in the region of I live in the sort of neighborhood in Los Angeles where people, you know, put signs in their yard about how liberal progressive they are and where they'll like vote for vaguely socialist candidates. But then if those candidates are like, "Ooh, and at this park or near you, we might start a shelter or build some transitional housing," many of those same people are like, "No, no, 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 no." Um, and I think I would feel bad and I would feel like I wouldn't be acting within my stated ethical principles if I was against something being built in my neighborhood that had the purpose of supporting and helping out working people and marginalized people.
Yes.
100%. I think that, and even if, and I'm not going to be like holier than thou guy, it might be unpleasant and annoying. I'll say it. I'm old enough to not care. It might not be like super chill if down the street from me they built like a new shelter or something, and there's probably going to be some activity outside that place I might not want to look at. But you know what? That's an aesthetic concern, and that's separate from an ethical principle. With Airbnb, however, what is happening is if someone and there's someone in my neighborhood, I'm pretty sure someone bought a lot, put up 2, what are those things called? Like tiny houses, the ones they build in like shipping containers.
Uh huh.
I think someone built a tiny house Airbnb complex in my neighborhood. Um, and if that's the case, I think that sucks ass because, yeah, Nelson, that's the name of the band. Because that's a lot that could have been used either for just like a house that a family could live in. It could be a split unit where people could rent, hopefully at an affordable rate. But now it's just like a weird, empty, ugly vessel for the creation of profit. So someone see, I knew I got spicy to try to get canceled, and I think Scarlett's going to take me to task. Um, maybe it's over now. Maybe I'm done. But yeah, I like the stream. I really wanted to yell 666, guys. I really wanted to do that, and I guess I might not to. Um, Philip says people often use NIMBY to oppose uses that produce more revenue for the city. Yeah, I could see that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, there's also the concerns of like, oh, my property value is going to decrease, and I mean, it's part of a long line of types of white flight as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, DC resident says Airbnb reduces rental housing, more homeless encampments all over the city. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm gonna say something that isn't scientific, but like, even in my times of living in LA, like, the more that things have been taken over by Airbnb and like, for-profit rental units like that, the more there has been like larger encampments and more unhoused folks and stuff like that. So again, I'm not a scientist with this. Someone like Julia might know this way more factually, but it seems like there's a pretty clear correlation. Evan said, "Do we really want a revolution without a revolution?" I mean, I'm already getting a little spicy today, so might as well keep it going. I mean, that's the point, right? Everyone wants a revolution without a revolution. There was a time where Adam Curtis. We talked about Adam Curtis a lot here before. You know what I would love to do for Patreon? Something where we do like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing, or 2000, but with Adam Curtis movies, where we get some guests and we watch an Adam Curtis movie and do live commentary. But like Adam Curtis once was on the Chapo Trap House podcast, I think after maybe Hypernormalization, a really good film, and his sort of like critique, A Hickey, no ads yet. Oh, did anyone send us ads? I forgot to check the email for that. Fuck. I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I'll pull it up as well as I'm telling the story. But on this podcast, Adam Curtis made this comment that was kind of like shitting on. Oh, thank you, Chain Smoking Blue Monkey, for correcting me there. That was kind of shitting on like mostly American left leaning folks. Is basically like the idea that people want some sort of revolution. They want the world to get better without sacrificing anything, and that's just not how history works. So there you go. There you go. Oh, ad read. Okay. I might just start. It's really long, but I might just start reading it. In a set, I might start reading it, and if I see a word that I feel like is going to end my career, if I say it, I'll stop. But let's get back to the show. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, and I think this all makes me think as well how for many of us, it might feel like personal stress release has to be a long focused task that you have to work for, taking possibly years to find what works for you. Hours of meditation, yoga, focused muscle relaxation, just cuts in your time to hang out with friends. Here we cut to stock footage of good times at a bar. And good luck trying to get more than 10 minutes to find inner peace at work. This is why today's sponsor, Master Date, will not need 10 minutes to relax when it puts your time crunch directly in your hands. No yoga mat or incense necessary. In fact, with nearly all their exits to date, Master Date delivered, you're going to get me fired. Master Date delivered a positive net return for their user stress level and state of mind. And the process is pretty simple. After answering a few simple questions about what you find stimulating to your personal preference, hair color, other things like that. And once you enter what you feel is your most stressful timeframes and preferred notifications, the app will take care of the rest. Okay, meetings normally end at 3, so I can set a date for then. My wife's off camera now. And just that easy, the app will send a convincing notification for anyone else in the room to believe you need to step away for a moment to take care of something important. That something important is stress release, but they don't need to know that. Is this about masturbating? 2 to 5 minutes later, you can rejoin
dating.
Master dating. 2 to 5 minutes later, you can rejoin society. It took me a while to get this, guys. With something a little less on your mind, the premium version allows you to sync with any smartwatch to monitor your stress levels and calories burned after. Normally $9.99, but our subscribers can get priority access to a 30-day free trial with a link in the description. Master Date, putting your mental health in the palm of your hand. I'm going to say that again. Master Date, putting your mental health in the palm of your hand. And then it says, during the graphic, Burns is heard on a hot mic still saying, this app just bypasses your internet filters so you can jerk off at work. God, I love capitalism. Guys, that was our first ever submitted ad. I never want to like say someone's name if they didn't give consent. So one of our friends sent that in for a thing called Master Date.
I think I'll consider master dating more now.
Yeah, there you go, guys. Thank you for that. Again, if you want to write, and that one was good, make yours a little bit shorter. But if you want to write an ad for me to read on stream, send it to wisecracklive666@gmail.com. Maybe put like ad in the thing, come up with a company. And the idea as well is that it should be just the worst thing. Just the worst thing. Peyton McDermott said philosophical underpinnings of modern Chinese thought among political leaders when conflict with China is escalating in DC. Can you calm down some hysteria with history and philosophy? Peyton, that's a great idea. So that's one of those things, Peyton, where like I'm gonna have to see if so we have a great team of people who do research for us. There's like freelancers and who are writers and academics. I want to see if I can find someone who knows this stuff because I don't know this stuff. So I don't want to ruin it. Oh, guys, Sigurd is going to be back in about 2 to 5 minutes. So you have a fun time. Step away if you need to step away. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about today? Let me check something here real quick. Again, yeah, we have the lore situation if you want to go check that out. Oh, yeah, we were, of course, looking at the Airbnb thing. I want to see if there's anything else. Yeah. No, I thought we were like at 9. Well, I just started reading ahead a lot. I think that's what it was. Hey, Mellow Jello, glad that you're here. Let's see. So yeah, so 8 was about turning Airbnb units into long-term rentals. 9 says if Airbnb owners pivot to long-term rentals, they'll likely crash that market as well, especially in dense urban areas, which is where the majority of Airbnbs are located. And then there's a heat map for Airbnb. This person's MS Paint writing is pretty funny. This one's crazy. So 10 says, I think newbie Airbnb owners who bought over the last 1 to 2 years of the mortgage are in trouble. They got in. Mortgaging in Airbnb just sounds really dumb to me. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a finance guy, but I just feel like that would be a big risk to take out a mortgage for an Airbnb. But they got in at a high price, have a high monthly payment, little margin for error. They could be the first to sell later in 2023. 11. However, some of the more seasoned Airbnb operators who got in before the pandemic will have room to work with. They paid less, have a cheaper mortgage, and more experience. And then 12, this person has more content and data in the coming weeks. So yeah, I think this is not to call it like a canary in the coal mine thing, but just an interesting story about an element of the gig economy, an element of a thing that kind of overlaps with economics, with housing, with American cultural life that seems to be crashing, and it seems like all the stuff is going to crash. Yeah, Kayla said so does rent to own car for driving Lyft. Yeah, and everyone, thanks again to Master Dating. So A Hickey, yes, it was yours. I don't know if you want me to say your name before, so I'm glad you're taking credit for your work. But shout out to all my master daters out there. And we're going to do, if we can get to 666, we'll do a live master dating tutorial on stream so everyone knows. This vote was so close, guys. This vote was so close. It was a contentious one. This is maybe the spiciest thing you've ever done on stream, Henry.
I totally understand. Attaching yourself to the concept of Nimbyism is not something that sounds glamorous, even if you're targeting something like Airbnb.
For sure. Wow, so spicy. Please, again, if you're here, we're almost at 12:30. Like the stream. Sigurd's out here typing with one hand. Some real freak behavior, guys. Some real freak behavior. So a fun thing is after this is done today, I'm gonna get to film some videos in here. Um, oh, cool. Um, yeah, we're gonna film some videos in here today. Got some fun stuff coming your way. I'm trying to think of what I'm gonna be filming in this room today. Something about, I think, a video on. Oh my god, I forget, guys. I forget sometimes what we're working on. But we got a lot of cool stuff coming up. As always, very happy to hear ideas that you all have for stuff to talk about on the stream, for stuff to do videos about. Um, Obviously, we got Georgism coming up, which is sponsored comments. Guys, producer Olivia of Wisecrack wanted me to know that she was the stream's 420th like. So shouts to Olivia for that. Um, and she just reminded me that we're working on education and cynicism today. Oh, yeah. So we're doing a video on the philosophy of cynicism. This is a video inspired by this stream, by you all, because we talked about stoicism and we looked at like that Ryan Holiday guy and talked about modern broicism and all the trends around that. So we looked into cynicism and kind of asked, like, in all these ancient philosophies that get rebranded as online trends, why stoicism? Why not cynicism? So we looked at cynicism and we talked about it in relative to stoicism. And then another thing that came up on this stream, we watched James Lindsay talking about pedagogy and how all the schools are turning your kids into Marxist super soldiers. And as part of that, we talked about Paulo Freire, the Brazilian educator, philosopher, theorist. So we have a video coming up on education and what the point of education is, which kind of gets into the attack on education in states like Florida, where they can't teach anything to do with race and gender and theory and all that sort of stuff, and looking at what education should be. So I'm excited about those. There'll be two of the last videos I do for a bit. We're also filming next week, to let you guys inside the actor studio. We're going to film, we're kind of batching some videos with me so that I'll still be on the channel when I am on pregnancy leave. So if any of the references I make in those videos are dated, that's why. So there you go. The chat's crazy. I just looked down for a second and people are talking about polymaster dating. It's crazy. Oh, YK's talked about the critique of cynical reason by Peter Sloterdijk. I haven't. I've read that book. I haven't thought about Sloterdijk for a while though. But I can think about him again. Ryan brings up, does anyone like cynicism? I mean, this is the thing, Ryan. I think there's an interesting distinction between, and thank you, Christopher Love, for the comment and encouraging us to do this. In working on this video, it's sort of like there's cynicism in terms of what it means if we say about someone we know now, like, oh, they're so cynical. And there's cynicism in the actual term that like someone like Diogenes would use. So I think there's something interesting there. Did anyone else see the tweet where Jordan Peterson said that he dared you to call him cis to his face?
What?
And it was like, oh my God, I'm going to look up the tweet, guys. I got to look this up because I got to tell you because I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be fair to Jordan Peterson, my buddy, my friend, my intellectual sparring partner. He said, oh yeah, he retweeted a thing about how like cis is an invention of trans activists. And then he said, call me cis to my face and see what happens. Guys, if you're anywhere near Jordan Peterson, call him cis to his face and film it. We'll put it on stream and Nelson will pay you money. Nelson, you didn't volunteer for that, but I assume you'll give someone $20 if they do this. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Like, okay, yeah. I mean, like, what would he do? What would Jordan Peterson do? This is what we talked about last week. Men's obsession with like fighting and violence and all this sort of shit. Like, say it to my face.
Very strong. Say it to my face on offline, and then see what happens.
Yeah, like what are you gonna do? And here's my thing: if you say that, okay, I'm being toxically masculine right now. At some point, we need a graphic that comes up when I slip into my toxic masculinity. But I'm doing it right now. If you say shit like that, you better be ready to back it up. If you're gonna talk about it, you got to be about it. Toxic masculinity. No one listen to this. Don't do as I say, not as I do, or whatever. Or do as I do, not as I say. I don't know. But you just can't do that. And here's what he would do. If you rolled up on him, he would just like cry or get sad or call security or something like that. I don't know, guys. Chris Maverick would call him that to his face. Yeah. I mean, Dr. Professor Christopher Maverick, PhD, to be academic with my terms, would absolutely duff Jordan Peterson. He would wreck that guy, but it's not good. It's not good. Violence isn't good. But if someone did pay for a sponsored fight with me and Jordan Peterson, that would be sick. I could just work out all my toxic masculinity. I would get out of that dojo, the octagon, the cage, the ring, and all my toxic masculinity would be gone because I would unload 38 years of toxic masculinity onto Jordan Peterson's face.
What if all that masculinity supercharges him, though?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, that's how it works. Zach B said he would call his daughter to beat you up. She might be able to. A Hickey said, got a request for an episode. Watch someone critique Harris about economics. Would like an episode about not taking trusted YouTubers. Yeah. A Hickey, if you saw, if you know where that is, where the person critiques Harris on economics, send it our way. We talked about before, our buddy Tom Nichols did a really great video on Harris. And then a historian from like the Netherlands did a good Harris video recently as well.
There was one. This one's a bit older too, but the YouTuber Bad Empanada, he did a critique of Harris, just talking about like the aspects of him that adhere to like neoliberal ideology.
Oh, nice. That's a funny username because we all know there's no such thing as a good empanada. That's probably not totally true. Well, yeah, and then not a food that I eat enough. Well, guys, we're gonna wind down a little early today because I have to film a bunch of videos, and I think I'm gonna get burned out if I talk too much because then I have to talk more when we start making these videos. I remember now, but I want to see if you guys if this is really a loving community. As we wind down, what am I supposed to do? What should I do now? Once we finish the stream, what is the first thing that I need to do? I need to see that I have a community of friends who I'm parasocially related to who look out for me. Maeve got it. Thank you, Maeve. Guys, if it wasn't for Maeve S. Callahan, I would starve to death today. So I'm gonna go get my store-bought salad out of the back of my car and hope that it's not hot and hope that it's not just a wet, hot lettuce. Bing bong, no sloppy top today. No 666 today. We failed. Guys, I don't know. I'll say this at the end as we wrap up. A little confessional moment. Just one of those weird things. I don't know what we got to do. And again, whenever I talk about growing our show, it's not that I want to grow our show because I need anyone other than you guys. I need you guys. Yes, I need a master date. I'm going to master date with Schedule 35 and eat a sloppy wet salad. But just want to figure out something I'll be thinking about as we kind of take a little break and revamp the show when I come back with a little baby. And I'll let you guys. Nelson is actually paid, so Nelson gets to name her. Nelson sent me a wire transaction, so I have to call him in the hospital. He gets to name the kid. But trying to figure out what we got to do. Maybe Henry and I will do some research, look at some other streams that do well. And again, guys, the reason I wanted to do well, it's not because you're not good enough. You're all good enough. I'd be happy if it was just you in the chat forever. But if it gets a little bit bigger, we get some bigger numbers, I can get some like sponsors other than Master Date on here, and it'll just keep us alive. It'll keep us alive. And also, if we do a little bit better, not do better, but if our numbers get bigger, the algorithm likes us, can justify, maybe a nicer setup, maybe getting some cool guests. So Cheyenne loves educating. Working in education is a bad place. Touch grass after stream. Cheyenne, we're literally about to film a video where we talk about how great you are. Bbot, thank you so much. And yeah, if you guys enjoy the stream, make sure you like it. Yeah, maybe tell a friend next week if you're someone if you're active on social media. So let's see. Please name your child Comrade. So guys, next week will most likely, I would say 90% sure, be the last stream before I take a little bit of time off to have a kid or to watch someone else have a kid and then deal with the consequences of her decision making. So don't clip that. But yeah, guys, so we'll see you next week. I'm really excited. We'll have fun. We'll do a mega stream next week, guys, because I'm kind of like half working, half not working next week. So we might even go longer depending on Henry, depending on you guys, we might just have the longest stream ever. We might go until I fucking pass out. Okay. So, and let's try to at least get 666 next week. But you know what? Maybe we try to raw dome it. Right? Maybe we get some sloppy toppy raw dome right
Yeah.
before I leave to go become a father. You know, I think that'd be fun. Someone said start YouTube drama with another YouTuber. Oh, and yeah, and if you guys do it, yeah. So think about someone for me to start beef with and express my toxic masculinity. And you can email about that. So a few things before we go. We got the lore doc. If there's any lore you want to add, but be responsible with the lore doc. It's a privilege, not a right. Hit us up at wisecracklive666 at Gmail. If you have parenting advice, give it to me because we'll do a special session on that. Or if you have ideas for other things, give producer Henry some love on the way out the door. And like I said, if you want to check out Schedule 35, they sponsor one of our recent videos, our most recent video. We really like them. So check out schedule35.co. Use the code Wisecrack and get 15% off hallucinogenic psilocybin products. Who said it? I didn't say it. Okay, guys, that's gonna be it for this time. I'm gonna film some videos now after I eat my hot sloppy salad. See you guys later. Love you very much.
Thanks for joining us, y'all. You have a good day.